Hey, welcome all. Thank you very much for watching this video. In this video today we're gonna look into the Bastion server, Bastion host server. It's a jump server. So basically this will allow authorization and access to our resources in the private subnet. So basically you will have a control over the resource access from the outside sources. So this Bastion host is installed in a public subnet or public area. So using this Bastion server you can access your uh, resources in your private subnet. So today we're gonna look into how you can configure a Bastion server in a public subnet, and you can able to access the resources in the public subnet with this. So I am in my actually dashboard, VPC dashboard. So let's go with the Ohio region. So we are going to create one VPC. We are doing this demo from scratch. There is no VPC created in this region, so we're gonna have one VPC for this. So let's check the VPC is present or not. So this is a VPC, I think. So let's delete this VPC, or you can create your VPC as well. So let's create one VPC. So this will more understandable. So let's create one VPC only, and name it test VPC, and then IPv4 CIDR block. The IP range is 12.0.0.0/16 range IP address. So this is the IP range for VPC. Then tenancy I'm gonna stick with default and just create VPC. So we have created one VPC for our account. So now let's attach one internet gateway. So in order to interact with internet, you must have an internet gateway attached to your VPC. So for that, let's click on internet gateway in your left corner. We already have one internet gateway, that is the by default internet gateway, but we are not going to use this. So let's create our own. So name it IGW internet gateway. So create internet gateway. So as of now, this internet gateway is not attached to any VPC. So we have to attach it to our recently created VPC. So let's go and attach it. So click on actions, attach to VPC, and our recently created VPC, that is test VPC, and just attach internet gateway. Okay, now you have created VPC, you have created one internet gateway. So let's go and create subnets for this VPC. So these are the private subnets, I mean the by default subnets. We don't need to go with this. So let's create our one subnet. So let's select the VPC in which you are going to create subnets. So this is test VPC. So this is the IP range for your subnets. So name your subnets like subnet public 1A, and the availability zone, that is Ohio East 2A, and IP range is this. Let's create the subnet for our VPC. So this is the IP range for our public subnet. So 12.0.1.0/24. So 256 IPs are available in this public subnet and in this availability zones. So let's go and create private subnet also. Let's click new, add subnets, name it private subnet private 1B. So availability zone, that is we gonna put these two subnets into US East 2 availability zone, and the IP range for this private subnet is 12.0.2.0/24. So 256 IP addresses are within this range in a private subnet. So everything is good. So let's create these subnets. Okay, now you have created internet gateway, the VPC and two subnets. So let's create route table. So these are the essential components to make your VPC full optimal and useful. So these are the route tables previously by default route tables. So we are not going to use this. So let's create a route table and name it RT public and select your VPC, that is test VPC, and just create route table. And now we're gonna associate one public subnet to this route table. So just click on edit subnet association and attach one public subnet with this. Save association. And now this subnet is routed. We have attached a route table with this subnet. So in order to access internet, so you must have an internet gateway route. So for that, edit routes. So attach internet gateway to this public route table. So add routes, and from anywhere, and target is your internet gateway. So now your instances are able to communicate with internet. So just save changes. So everything is okay. So let's create another route table for private subnet. So RT underscore private. So it's VPC, test VPC, create subnet. So this is the private route table for private subnet. So let's associate a private subnet with this route table. Okay, you don't need to attach internet gateway to this subnet or this route table, because it will become a public subnet then. So to keep it up in a private zone, you don't need to attach a internet gateway to this. So now your VPC is almost done. You are good to go with your Bastion host installation. So let's type EC2. So now we're gonna create one Bastion host in a public subnet. So as of now there is no instance running. So let's create Bastion server. So name it Bastion host Let me check it. Okay. So now select operating system. Then instance type t2.micro pretire eligible. Then key pair master key.pem. So I have already created this key. You can create this is from here as well. So just name your key and download it. So now we are going to install or configure this Bastion host in a public subnet. So let's configure this. So select your VPC, that is test VPC, and the subnet is a public subnet. And yes, you need one public IP address to this Bastion host, as you are installing this in a public subnet. So security group launch wizard 5, or for the simplicity purpose, let's name it security group Bastion host SG. So SSH from anywhere. Okay, now everything is good. So let's create this. Now our Bastion host or Bastion server is in the pending state. So let's go and create one instance in a private subnet. So launch instance. Then name it like EC2 private server. Then OS operating system Ubuntu. Instance type t2.micro, key pair master key. Then the network setting is S2EPC, and you don't need any public IP address for this instance, and this must be in a private subnet. So security group, let's use existing security group. No, let's create another security group. So private security group. Then SSH TCP port 2020, not from anywhere. We are gonna use a custom, and our sub IP address, and 12.0.1.0/24. So this is the Bastion host's IP range. So instances within this IP range can be SSH to your private instance. So everything is good. Let's launch instance. So now our both the instances are up and running. One is in the private subnet and one is in the public subnet. So let's connect to our Bastion host first. So just click on connect. So make sure the key you are using the key must have necessary permission, executable permissions. For that, use this command chmod 400 masterkey.pem, and this is the public IP address for SSH connectivity. So let's copy this command, entire command. This is simply SSH to your public machine. So now I'm going with my terminal. This is the Ubuntu like terminal I'm using, WSL. So it is taking time. So let's check what we have in this. So these are the previous files we have and the master key.pem. So this key we have used in for our both the instances. I mean for the Bastion host and the instance which is in the public, I mean the private subnet. So this key is applicable for both the instances. So let's check the permission for this. So you can see the master's key have a read write permissions. So let's SSH to our Bastion host. So now you are logged in your Bastion host, and you have a masterkey.pem already in your Bastion host. So I have copied the content of our public key and pasted and with the same name. So let's SSH to our let's try to connect our private instance using our Bastion host. So see, there is no public IP address because this instance is in the private subnet. So let's connect with the private IP address. So click on connect, copy this command. So simply you are SSH-I master key, the content and the username, and this is the public, the private IP address of our private instance. So let's try to SSH. So you have successfully logged in your private instance using your Bastion host. So this will gives you more security, more authentication while